Anyway, guys, let's talk about the topic that people keep bringing up in the chat here, because this has been, as mentioned, it's been kind of the Achilles heel of the Giants getting linemen that do anything positive, minus Andrew Thomas. And people got all excited about Marcus Mbow here in this game here against the Bills. And listen, there's reasons to be excited. There's definitely reasons to have that. So PFF listed him as having just one pressure in 35 snaps, 81.2 pass block rate overall. Brian Baldinger, who actually is usually pretty nice to Giants. I'll give him that. He's usually pretty level-headed there. He's not a hater or a homer. He's usually pretty level-headed. He said Giants, the best rookie performance was Marcus Mbow. Mm-hmm. Now, let me repeat that. The best rookie performance was Marcus Mbow in a game that everybody was talking about, Jackson Dart and the 6 snaps we saw of Abdul Carter. And I have to say that way because it's ridiculous to get too excited over 6 snaps. But he said, all I heard was smack, smack. All I saw was swat, swat. Mm-hmm. Now, if those y'all aren't up to date in your automatopoeias, know what he was talking about there. Basically, what he's saying is all he kept on seeing was guys going to hit him and him swatting them away, basically. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you're supposed to do as a lineman. Keep your hands free. He says, let's go, go, go. And then he said, I thought the best Giants rookie on Saturday was Marcus Mbow. He was awesome. Now, all great things. He played for the second-team offense at right tackle. Then he played at left tackle during the 2-minute drill at the right before the end of the half. Then he moved back to right tackle again in the third. So we have a guy now playing both sides of tackle and doing pretty good. Now, here's where I get to the not so good guys, because I got to keep it real. I did when I went back and looked at the tape. I specifically watched every snap for him specifically, again, because he's getting a lot of hype, and I wanted to see what he was doing exactly. It was hard during the game live because I'm following the ball, and obviously tackles don't typically touch the ball very often. And if they do, something bad happened. Let's be very frank. That means the ball went to the ground at some point. So I think he did get pushed back a little bit in some of the more power moves. Not a ton. I'm not trying to say he got like smacked into the quarterback there, but I do think he had a little more trouble, obviously, with the power moves than he had with the finesse moves, which makes sense. He's a very athletic guy, not a very big guy for a tackle. We talked about it before. He barely hits 300 pounds. He's definitely undersized compared to what tackles are nowadays. He did definitely show off his athletic ability, though, against speed rushers, spin moves, swim moves. He seemed to pick up, some stuff pretty well there. The biggest issue I have, and I don't know why no one's talking about this, is his run blocking. He had a 59.3 run blocking grade from PFF. As I said before, 81.2 pass blocking grade. That's all I'm hearing people talk about. And I get it. We've seen quarterbacks hit the ground like ridiculous amount of times over the last half a decade here. I get it. But there's the two-sided part of that position. You've got to be able to run block as well. And we talked about running was an issue in this game. It's not being talked about either. Running was an issue. No running back really did a great job. Whether it's Tracy, whether it was even Miller, who we'll talk about later on, who had a great game, but did not get the ball rolling on the ground.
No.
59.3 run blocking grade. So, listen, bottom line, this kid's got a lot of potential. I'm not trying to be negative on him. Switching sides mid-game and going back and forth, very impressive. Pass blocking, very impressive. Went against a well-coached Bills team that's been known for having a good defensively coached team for years. I'm not trying to take away from the kid. But I feel like people are a little too excited because we've been so bad at drafting offensive linemen lately. Like, you got to go back, guys. I challenge you to go back and look at those run plays and see what he did. Again, didn't get embarrassed. It wasn't like he fell flat in his face. It wasn't like he just couldn't get his hands on anybody. But I don't feel like he opened the lanes really, and that's part of my concern.
You are, first of all, as far as the grading, I don't get into the grades with PFF. I'm not a big fan of it. So, because I'm old school. So, it's the film.
I don't use it as a tool because you can't get a stat really. Yeah. That's the only reason
I get where you're going. Me, I'm a coach. I know what to look for. I get it with the average fan. I get it. You're right in some regards. There's a play that they ran for Turbo Mill. It was going off tackle where it bounced to the outside zone. He went for, I believe it was number 55, who dipped inside of him, and then he had to turn spin, and he caught him. He caught him on a crack, which put him on his hind part. So he adjusted properly. But yes, you're right. that was one of my biggest concerns with not just him, but several of the offensive linemen in terms of defensive linemen cross facing, and how did they adjust to that? And it's a consistent thing. So some of that, I wonder if it's schematic. What are they teaching them? What do you do to adjust to that? There were a couple times that I saw a duo run and a safety had to drop down to the box to make the tackle. I'm fine with that because now you're getting a push, when two offensive linemen double teaming a defensive lineman and get a push to the second level. I'm fine with that. But yes, you're right. There were times in the run game because that's where I'm a big proponent. We had 25 carries for 79 yards, 2-to-1 average, because I think we threw 51, 52 times. But you get 79 yards. That's 3.2 yards per carry. That's not going to cut it in the NFL. I'm sorry, especially when those situations come where we got to get some short yardage situation because we don't get a push. And with him, I wonder, like I said, sometimes it's the angle. It's your hand placement. It's your foot, your initial 6-inch step. What are we teaching these offensive linemen? It's him, it's Kubas. We've been critical on Azudo in the past. So I'm wondering, is it part of the scheme? That's me, but I don't have the intel to know what they're calling at certain situations. So yes, you're right in terms of Mbow, in his run game, but he's never been graded as a big run type of a player, so, and I get it. So you're right though. You're right. In terms of his run, he needs to do better in the run game.
So all I heard of the whole entire thing, well, I'm right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you. No, I mean, listen, I think the biggest issue when you talk about those players specifically, I think there's 3 different cases here. When it goes to Josh Azudu, we use Josh Azudu on the show as a verb. When we say someone has Josh Azudu'd him, that means we put him in the wrong position he shouldn't be playing at. Josh Azudu was just flat out playing a tackle when he should be playing guard from the get-go, and that's been the biggest problem with him. And the Giants have flat out probably ruined any chance of him turning into anything decent because of it. You talk about, Jay Kubas. I don't think I don't see anything great about him. I never have. I don't think he was that great of a player. And for some reason, the Giants liked him a lot. With Mbow, I think the issue really with him is and maybe I'm wrong, but I think he just needs to go hang out with Rob at the Golden Corral and start fighting for that last slice of prime rib. I feel like it's the weight. He's playing at 300 pounds even. He's going against guys where he's literally given up in some cases 50, 60 yards. Pounds. 50, 60 pounds. That's a lot of weight to be giving up if he has to slide inside on a run blocking and go against one of these bigger guys. Now, if he's going on the outside and pass blocking, it's not as big as an issue. And I think that coupled with athleticism is why you see very good as far as how he is on pass blocking. But the second he has to go from the left or the right and slide inside to open up a run lane, now you're facing him against bigger guys. And that's where you're going to run to the issue, I think. And that's what I said all along. It's got to be almost a redshirt year for him. I think he needs to put on at least 25 pounds. But he needs to go hang out with that kid Watson over with the Bucks maybe and see if they can get a trade going of some kind.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy. big boy. So, but no, I get where you're going. And that's why I also say sometimes I think it's more because it looks like a lot of their blocking is zone-based. It's not a power scheme, where, a lot of it is one-on-one driving your man out of the way. It's more catch them on an angle and ride them out of the way. Don't let them bull you, because you made a good point, with a couple of bull rushes, he was giving yard ground, but then of course he anchored himself well to stall it. So yes, he knows how to adjust, but yes, mano sometimes, certain ones.
It's almost like I'm trying to think of a good player to give this analogy to, but here it almost reminds me of he's like a Julius Edelman kind of guy, but on the offensive line, a really guy who's a little undersized, but a guy who is very good as far as his form, as far as his technique. He's just lacking the size to go along with it there, so to speak. And I think that's kind of what's going on with him to a certain degree. He's almost like that smaller receiver that you're like, oh, he's scrappy. How is he getting it done at his size? Like, he's the offensive lineman version of that right now. 300 pounds. He's given up a lot.
Well, also remember, as a 300-pounder, some tackles are only 315, 310. So they're more going towards edge guys, and a lot of those guys are 240 to 260, maybe 270. So the power, now, like you said, if you bump them inside to guard, you're going up against some big, sexy fatties down here. So, 350, 340, you're right. So there it becomes a matter of leverage. So that's where sometimes I get where you're going in terms of adding girth. He just needs to add good girth. He doesn't. You don't want to add it and put on, because I've seen guys who, they put on the weight and then it just takes away from their athleticism. Right now, if you tell me put on
I'm right
10
here,
pounds,
Coach. I know you're talking about me.
No.
Wow, way to call me out of the show here. Wow.
I'm calling you out, man. I'm just saying in general.
I'm sensitive about my weight. What's next? Why am I wearing a hat? Because I'm bald, Coach.
What's the matter with your weight? I'm probably bigger than you. I'm probably heavier than you. So
I'm 700 pounds.
Yeah, okay.
I was on that TLC special.
He's 6'7", so he hides it very well.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm just saying, adding the weight on to help, like you said, to give him good weight, to get power, and not to be easily driven back. I get where you're going. Like, what is Andrew Thomas? I think Andrew Thomas is what, 315?
I want to say about 320. Let me see. I mean, again, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's got to go to 354 pounds. I'm not saying anything crazy. He definitely. I think he needs probably a good 20 pounds added onto him. 315 for Andrew Thomas too.
So
but I don't know. I still wonder the exact weight of Mbow. Like we've talked about it before. I don't never trust the numbers we get. He just looks a lot smaller too. Like he doesn't even look the 300 pounds. And if I'm right, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong. When they were doing we were talking about him as a prospect before the draft. Weren't we seeing places listing about 295 and 290 even?
I was about to say like 290-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that. So, listen, I mean, we said it before. You can always go ahead. The new thing to do it now is when you go to the combine, you fix whatever weight issue you have, and then you just don't work out until your pro day. That's the trick, guys. If people haven't realized that yet, when you see a guy going for weigh-ins and stuff like that in interviews that not work out, and then work out in his pro day, bring the same scale to both places. I guarantee to be a difference.
I was going to say, it's very easy to manipulate, especially at that weight. Like, you're literally talking, when you're talking 10, 20 pounds at 300 pounds, that's less than 10% of his body weight that you're manipulating. Like, as a guy that's back in the day, they used to compete at 200 pounds. Lifting 20 pounds was nothing. It was nothing.
Back in my day.
I mean, back in my day. God, I would take that swing right now. God, building the crowd's been too good. Getting the meat sweats.
I mean, you and I had the similar thing. Obviously, you were much better than I was at the sport, but we did it during wrestling. You had to add weight, drop weight, and stuff like that. You can add 10, 15 pounds, drop 10, 15 pounds easy. People think it's difficult. It's not really that difficult to do. It's done all the time. So, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know if I can see 300 pounds is a legit weight for him. But again, if you get to that 315, 320 rate, I think you'll see a difference. And keep in mind, even 15 pounds at the 315, it's still a 5% increase. It's much more than you think at that point there,
I just don't want to I just don't want to see it take away from his athleticism. That's all. I want to see good weight added on. And I've seen so many times guys add on bad weight, and it just takes away from what. Look, if that's the case, stay where you are and just work on getting stronger, in the weight room in that regard.
Yep. And what you gotta do, and this is why I said we drafted him. It almost needs to be almost like a redshirt year for him to a certain degree, where you kind of work on him, let him gain the weight slowly, naturally, doesn't kill his joints and stuff like that, and get him going. And then maybe he takes over for Greg Van Roden or Jermaine Illuminor next year, depending on how things go, and what position he excels at. But I do think that he showed me a little more than I expected, to be honest with you guys, in that game. I was impressed. We talked about how he needed to probably gain a lot of weight and move inside because of the shorter arms. He handled himself pretty well. And I think some of us may have forgotten, including myself, He did play at Purdue. It wasn't like he played at like Central Southwestern Texas Polytech Christian University Abilene. Like he did play at a legit school, playing against legit pass rushers. You know, so sometimes there are guys who just they're outliers, and the NFL hates him. And quite frankly, that's probably why he dropped. Short arms, underweight.
Yeah, that stuff kills me, man. It's just
and you can add weight.
Yeah,
you can add weight, and technically, you can probably go to Japan and get that surgery that makes your arms longer. But you have to break it a bunch of times, do all kinds of crazy stuff. Yes, there is a surgery that does that.
I'm okay.
No, legit.
I believe you. I'm just like extend my arm. No, I'm good with my.
No, it's done more with legs. Actually, there's a thing people do. They actually will break their femurs and they extend them out a little bit and let it fill in, and then do it again and again and again until they gain a little height. It's kind of creepy. And when I say kind of, I mean very.
You said Japan. I understand why. Never mind. I'm just going to leave it.
Well, I think I want to say it was Japan. I could be wrong on where they do it at, but I mean, let me say, last time I saw a video on it, wasn't Japanese people specifically doing it, but I want to say it was done in Japan.
No, I'm just saying. I understand.
Listen. I got what you're saying. You're talking about certain shortcomings.
Yeah, but over here, look, I'm 6'2", you're 6'7", so I'm used to. In my family, I'm height, so I'm like.
Listen, I went to Singapore 5 years ago. People literally took pictures of me on the street.
Okay, they thought it was Godzilla walking down the street. That was the problem.
For Singapore, not Japan, Rob. Wow, there's a difference. Oh my God!
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
If you like that clip,
then you will love the full episodes too.
Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please